there, welcome to this video and welcome to my channel. This is Mae Renfroe here with you. And as always, yeah, I'm excited to be doing this video and that you're tuned in, that you are here at my channel and catching this video and what I have to share this week. So I'm in my motorhome for one thing, instead of outside because it's really hot. I ended up not getting to do this first thing in the morning, so it's hot, and so I'm in here and it's a nice spot. It's quiet. The children are not right here. So what I'm talking about in this one is the story of Jesus and Peter walking on water. I just love that passage in Matthew chapter 14. So I'm going to read that area, and then I'm going to talk about it and pull some things out of it that we can apply to our life. I really like it, and it's just something you can just think on yourself, because I don't know what you've thought of it, what you've gotten out of it before, and so maybe I'll be sharing something that's kind of new to you, and then you can get into that passage yourself and say, hey, what is in there for me? How can we apply this to our day-to-day lives, and what all did God intend for us, to get from that with Him walking on the water, and Jesus. And then Peter walking out to Him when He invited Peter. And there's really quite a lot in it. I looked into some other people's kind of commentaries on it as well, but I have my own thoughts and things on it. And then I was like, well, there's really a lot to get out of here. If all we get out of it is that we don't have enough faith to walk on water and we feel defeated, that's not the point. That's not what Jesus wants us to get. That, well, if we have enough faith, we can walk on water. So I guess we're lacking something here. No, that wasn't the point of the thing at all. There's a lot in there and some significant points. So I'll read the scripture. Okay, so where it starts in Matthew 14, he had just fed the crowd of 5,000. Okay, so it says starting in verse 22, and straightway Jesus constrained His disciples to get into a ship and go before Him onto the other side while He sent the multitudes away. That's where we're starting. Okay, in verse 23, and when He had sent the multitudes away, He went up into the mountain apart to pray, and when the evening was come, He was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them walking on the sea. I've heard the fourth watch is supposed to be was early in morning by this point. It was supposed to be, they had been out pretty much all night, like most of the night, and this has been a long time now. Okay. So He came walking to them on the sea. And verse 26, and when the disciples saw Him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it is a spirit, and they cried out for fear. But straightway Jesus spoke unto them, saying, be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered and said, Lord, if it is Thou, bid me come unto Thee on the water. And He said, come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to the Jesus. And when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth His hand and caught him, and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? And when they were come into the ship, the wind ceased. Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped Him, saying, O, of a truth, Thou art the Son of God. Wow, so they seen Him, not only walk on water, but come there and just calm the seas, calm the storm. And they're like, of a truth, You are the Son of God. And they worshipped Him then. Wow, so amazing story. And so some of the things that I like, my first thing that I've always got out of here myself is that the fact that when Peter had said, well, you asked me to come, right? Where was this? Thou bid me come unto the water, and Jesus said, come. So He steps out, I guess, apparently in confidence, and he asked Jesus to invite him, and Jesus said, come. So here I go. I'm going with confidence and courage, and he's walking on water, but towards Jesus, and he must have had his eyes on Jesus, and he's just, I'm going to Jesus on this water. But then he takes his eyes off Jesus, looks around at this storm and the circumstances, and must be like, what in the world, how can I do this, the storm? And he begins to sink. And so what I really like is that he was walking on water. He could, towards Jesus, he could have continued walking on water. if he hadn't looked around at his storm and his circumstances. So my first, thing I get is like, wow, how much, important it is to keep our eyes on Jesus, and how many places we see this in the Bible. It says those that keep their minds on me will be in peace, right? That's in Isaiah 26:3. There's so many places that tell us just to keep our focus up there on God, whom our help comes from, and we'll experience that peace that he gives us right in the middle of our storms. It doesn't matter what we're walking through, what we're going through, we can experience the peace of Jesus. And to me, that is one of my first things that I get from that. Another one is that Jesus meets us in our storms. Wasn't that neat? Right in the middle of their storm, and he I don't know if he purposely kind of waited for them to get that circumstance, that desperate, where they really, needed Jesus. But he comes to them in the middle of their storm, right when it was the most desperate, when it seemed the most hopeless. There he was, and that's how he is for us. He's right in the middle of our deepest, grief or sorrow or trouble or whatever it is. He is there also. So I love it for that. My other thought, just on that same thing, about when Peter was walking on water out to him, it wasn't that the storm got stronger necessarily at that point. I mean, he was already in the midst of the storm and the midst of the wind and the waves and everything. And it wasn't that once he started walking out to Jesus, the storm got stronger. It's because he started looking at it, and looking at his circumstance, taking his eyes off Jesus. So I just wanted to emphasize that it's just that he let his focus stray to the things around him, to the situation, to like, oh no, how can I be doing this? And he took his focus, he lost his faith, trust, and confidence in Jesus at that moment, because he looked around. And we can so often do that when we take our faith and our trust and confidence off Jesus and look at, oh no, our circumstances, that they just don't look like, how could they work out? Things that seem hopeless, or when we have a loss and grief, like in our story, it can be can really consume us and get the best of us, and we can be down and just don't understand. Take our eyes off Jesus, and that's where we're going to be pulled down and sink. And because we don't walk on water, but we walk on this difficult road called life. And if we need to keep our eyes on him all the time, because if we don't, we are going to sink. If we don't keep our focus on him and our mindset in the right place, and I know we'll fall to Satan's schemes, because he wants to catch us in these different areas, that he wants us to believe his lies and doubt and question, and question, like, is God's word true? Is God good when these things happen? And he wants us to worry and fret and lose our faith. So that's why it's so important. We've got to keep our focus on him all the time, or we're gonna sink. We're gonna sink into despair and into a lot of things, places we don't want to go, when we stop looking at the one that's holding us. He said he's holding us with his righteous right hand, and that he'll never leave us nor forsake us. So we can count on him, that he is always there for us, no matter what we're going through. Just wanted to read something that I wrote down, that I looked up about this. And what's interesting, it says, but we have to ask, why did they not recognize Jesus? So when he was walking on water, why didn't they recognize him? It says the answer is they were not looking for him. They had been waiting. Had they been waiting by faith, they would have known him instantly. Instead, they jumped to the false conclusion that his appearance was that of a ghost. The point is this: fear and faith cannot live in the same heart, for fear frequently blinds the eyes to the presence of the Lord. Wow. So that's gonna, they weren't looking for him, and that can be a problem, obviously, in our lives. What we can be the same thing, right? Something else I wanted to read here. So why did Jesus walk on water? Okay, to show his disciples that the very thing they feared, the raging, seething sea, was merely a set of steps for him to come to them. Often we fear the difficult experiences of life, such as illness, loss of loved ones, and the financial hardships, only discovered that these experiences can bring Jesus closer to us. They sure can. I mean, we can either let it make us bitter if we, if we choose that, or these things can just be a way, can be experiences that can bring Jesus closer to us, can bring us closer to Him when we can, lean on Him. We realize we need Him to hold us up. We need Him to catch our hand, like Peter. He said, "Lord, save me." He was sinking in the middle of the lake there, and very scary moment. And he's like, "Lord, save me." So sometimes that's what happens. We get these circumstances get us in places where we realize, God, we need you. We need God all the time. We need God every day. I can't make a day without Him. But sometimes we can get, and we realize these things can get us in those positions, and so they really can be for our better. And God meets us in our every storm. A few more points that I had written down on something that I had looked up about that is that God's eyes always had His eyes on the boat that whole time, even from where He was, went up into was it actually up on the mountain or something, where he went, I guess, to spend time in prayer and stuff, and where he was able, he's seen that boat, so He always has His eyes on us, right? He always has His eyes on us all the time. Because He doesn't leave us or forsake us. These moments, can bring us to worship more, closer to Him. He invites us out of our comfort zone into the places He is at, into what He's doing and working. So He wants we've got to get out, like out of our boat, or out of our comfort zone, into the places that He needs us, and we've got to walk through some of these things to be able to do, what He has for us, because He has incredible things for us. And not just to stay in a safe place. So I think we can get that out of there as well. But I don't want to get off the subject. That just there's so much in there. I just want you to read and to study that and see what you can get out of that place of Jesus walking on water, and then having Peter walk on water also, and the significance of it. And I just feel like if all we can get is that we don't have enough faith or something, then we're really missing that. In the place that says that if we had the faith of a mustard seed, we could move mountains. We could tell a mountain to move. I feel like we may never be in situations where we need to literally walk on water or literally move mountains. But in our everyday living, we have water to walk on and mountains to move. We have these situations. We are in these storms and in these places, and where we need the power of God in our lives to work, as with Him meeting us during that situation, and just feeling that He is equipping us. He's in us. Says in Him we can do greater things than these. And we need to believe in what He said about us and over us, and we're capable of doing, of what He said we can do, and He is in us. Greater is He that's in us than he that's in the world. So not to live defeated lives, but to walk in the power and the fullness of God, and in all that we are in Him, and what He's done and doing for us, and He's actively there for us in the middle of our storms and in these situations. We keep our eyes on Him. We can keep on walking. We can keep on doing the things He wants, no matter if it seems impossible. No matter if it seems situations, what it is like, how can this be done? It says in Christ all things are possible. In God all things are possible. That He is a God of the impossible. So we got to just stand on that. Stand on His word. Don't get off of His word and His truth. Stand on His word, and we won't sink to the schemes and the things of Satan, and how he wants to tear us down and belittle us and make us lose our confidence and our trust in Jesus. That's what Satan come to steal, kill, and destroy in John 10:10. But Jesus came to give us life and give us life abundantly. All right. Well, as I close this, again, I hope you kind of got everything out of here that I wanted to share about this, the passage in John 14 of Jesus walking on water. I always kind of get down my videos and I'm like, oh, did I do that justice? Did I share that right? Did you, just get into that yourself and see what God has in that and for you. And there's so much in there, so many significant points on that. I love that passage. There's a song that reminded me, and I was thinking of doing this. I'm talking this about at my ladies group this week. And there's a song that is kind of catchy. It's called Believer. And I remember it talking about mountain mover, water walker. And I didn't know the rest of it, so I looked it up too. So I got the lyrics, and I'll read some of those lyrics. It's kind of our confidence as someone that's became, when we become as a believer to God, then we can walk in that confidence. I'll just share that the first couple lines. Well, it's more than a few lines, but a couple of the first stanzas or something of the song. It says, I walk a bit different now that my heart's been found. Nothing really feels the same. I hold my head a little higher, I lift my voice a little louder. Yeah, something's inside has changed. I'm a mountain mover, water walker, more than just an overcomer, because I've been set free. I'm a gospel preacher, heart on fire, freedom singing, testifier, because I've been redeemed. I'm a believer. Wow, just really neat. The next part too says, I know this is not my home. I know I don't walk alone. No matter what comes my way, I have peace through the trouble. I have joy through the struggle, and now my hopes in a brighter day. So that's that same kind of thing, something about I have peace through the trouble. I have joy through the struggle. So right, in the middle of it, like the storm that we're talking about, we can have the hope and the peace in the presence of Jesus right there in the middle of that. So I think that's a neat song. I mean, I'll always, I'm a mountain mover, water walker, more than just an overcomer, because I've been set free. We're in Jesus. We have the strength and power of Jesus working in us, and believe that He's going to do what He said He can do. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Hope this has been good, and you can get into that scripture and read it for yourself. Okay, take care. Stay tuned for more of these. I try to do them weekly.